So one of the interesting things that I have come across, small businesses. How many fail in the first year? These are statistics worldwide. 40% fail in the first year. By the second year, 80% fail. And 20% is left. At the end of the 10th year, 96% of the 80% remain. Only about less than 5. Why is this? Because the person who started the business is not a fool. 90% of the people who start a business are either excellent marketing people in a company, financial people, human resources people. But then suddenly they say, why the hell should I work for this chap called Ivan? And they start a business. But that is a fatal mistake they make. Because running a business is very different from running a department. Do you agree? Yeah. Very different. And I'll go into more details. Why do many founders are either technicians, not entrepreneurs or managers? I'm going to define later who is a technician, who is an entrepreneur, and who is a manager. There are 3 types of personalities in all of us. I started off as a chartered accountant in London, worked for an investment bank in London, went back to Sri Lanka where I was born, moved to Singapore by chance, and worked for the largest group of companies. I worked for a man called Tan Sri Tan Chin Tuan, who was chairman of the OCBC group. He was chairman of 8 public listed companies. I was one of those very accidental meetings. He treated me like a son. He passed away at the age of 96. On the 21st of this month, we have a birthday celebration for him. The family is very close to me. So technician, manager, and an entrepreneur. Let's look at each of them. Technician performs work that is direct and hands-on. Second, they build products, delivery services, and doing administrative and supportive work. Third, their work is strictly tactical, not strategic. I'm an engineer. I worked as an accountant. I am very tactical. And then I move on and say, why should I work for this group? I might as well start on my own. And then the manager is both tactical and strategic. He gets results through and with people, because that's a very important thing. One of the greatest blessings I have is how I get on with people. That's the key, because everything we do, we cannot do on our own. We have to do it through people. Management is getting results through and with people. Management is the ability to get on with people so that you can produce results. Then an entrepreneur is a visionary, is a dreamer. I work with a lot of these people. They dream beyond expectation, and they don't like to come down to earth. They're up in the skies. And then they shape the business. They develop vision and communicate that vision with conviction and passion to meet the need and to hear. And then finally, are dreamers. Do you find entrepreneurs dreamers? They're all dreamers. Some come down to earth. And this is where people like Ivan and I help. They are dreamers who focus on the future, impatient to achieve their vision. Do you agree with this? Very important. This is from my experience. I had a very interesting experience recently. I moved from OCBC and I'm passionate about helping people. And what I have done is distilled all I know in all the companies I ran. I was involved with many startups in the OCBC group. I'll talk about that later. And distilled it and see how we can apply it and implement them. I had a professor of the University of Nanyang Technological University who heard me speak at a conference. He was also born in Sri Lanka, came from London. He rang me and said, can I come and see you? He said, I've developed an algorithm. And based on that algorithm, I've developed a GPS system, a global positioning system. And this is being used by Land Transport Authority of Singapore. I know nothing about business. Can you help me? I said, okay, let's get together. I wish I put more money. I put little money because I thought this chap was another dreamer. And we got into business, and the product became acceptable, and he won a contract in the smart city of Singapore. We had suitors from Switzerland, SGS, the Continental Motors of Germany, and we sold it for 45 times earnings. I wish I put more money. Because I thought he's another dreamer. 45 times earnings. It's a company called, you can Google it, Quantum Inventions. Quantum Inventions. Now it's owned 100% by Continental of Germany. Very big company. It's interesting. So I've come across many, I was involved with many things when I was in OCBC. But let's look at this. Successful business. One of the reasons is successful business, you must work in the business and also on the business. So you see, I'm very good in accounting. You are an engineer, you're a lawyer, you are a marketing person. But we work in the business. How do we work on the business? On the business is all aspects, marketing, finance, human capital, to be able to coordinate like a conductor in an orchestra. Different instruments are played. How do you conduct it so that it harmonizes and produces beautiful music? That is the leadership part. What is on the business? On the business is marketing, very important, product, price, placement, promotion, and people. Then operations, running the business. Then innovation, which Ivan talked about. You have to continually innovate. There's a lovely saying which I will quote many times. When the rate of change outside exceeds the rate of change inside, the end is in sight. Think about it. This happens to our families. When we first marry a lady, I'm blessed with a lovely lady who I met. She also came back from England. And when we get married, everything we do together. But one thing I've learned, women stand for we organize men. We organize men. So don't argue with a woman. My wife is the most intelligent woman I've ever met. That's why she chose me. But my daughter, who's an American trained school teacher at the American school, says, Mommy may have made a mistake, Daddy. So operations is important. Innovation. And then human resources. Everything you do. I came from a Sri Lankan culture at 18 years, went to England, went into an English firm, and then I had to learn. But of course, I was in an English-run school in Sri Lanka. Then I went to Sri Lanka, then I moved to Singapore. 100% Chinese group. I was the first non-Chinese. When the Prime Minister met me, Lee Kuan Yew, he said, how the hell did you come from Sri Lanka to this Chinese bank? I said, good luck, sir. I didn't want to say God's blessings. I believe in God's blessings. So it's unbelievable what happened to me. And if I tell you the story, it's very unusual that I even met a man called Ivan K., who's an extraordinary man. He is so passionate about everything, he doesn't stop talking all the time. Am I right? Ivan. And finally, everything boils down to finance. Whatever you do, if your return on your capital is not as high as the cost of borrowing, nobody will put money to you. Am I right? Nobody will trust you. So your return, how do you determine the return on capital? It's not only assets, but how you turn over. The profit over the investment is equal. Later on, I'll go into that, so I won't cover it now. So this is what on the business is. How many people who start a business has all these components? Very few. And that is the main reason that it fails. Anybody agrees or disagree? Do you agree with what I'm saying? Ivan?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So now we'll move on. This is the prime moving strategies, and this is enabling strategies. Now, one of the things about companies is we go through, like a human being, different stages. Infancy. And there's a book written by an American called the Corporate Life Cycles. All of us, we start in courtship. We talk about are you prepared to, are you friendly with me? It's courtship. Then you make a commitment. Then after that commitment happens, hopefully you have a child, an infant. From infant, then you make a little money, then your head gets big. Then it's called go. I want to go here, I want to go there, I want to buy a sports car, I want to have a young girl as a friend, and this goes on, go stage. Very dangerous stage. Then it's adolescence. And then it gets to prime, where everything balances. And then once you pass prime, it gets into stability. And that is the beginning of your decline. when it gets into early aristocracy, early bureaucracy and death. So our job as an advisor is to make sure that they go up to prime and remain in prime. Otherwise you go down. And this is where you have to have the humility to listen to people. You know the word listen as the same letters of the alphabet as silent. L-I-S-T-E-N, S-I-L-E-N-T. Interesting. So in each of these stages, at this stage, cash, infancy. You don't want anything else. Then you have sales and marketing. Then you have profits. Then you have return on investment. At each level, human, marketing, resource, and operations, you must have different people. So in order to achieve prime, we have to reach prime. I want to look at, there are 4 types of people in here, all of us. Some are producers, some are administrators, some are entrepreneurs, and some are integrators. So you have to have a balance. It's like a football team. I didn't play rugby, I played football. You must have a balance. You must have a left winger, right winger, forward, back, and a goalkeeper. So unless you have all these components, it doesn't move. And then in each of this, at each level, at courtship, you must be an entrepreneur, E. At this infancy is P. And then this goes up, and at each level, you have to bring the right people. If you don't bring the right people, it will fail. Do you agree? You have to. And do you have the money to bring those people in? So this is where financial planning is very important. So successful business, technician, manager, and an entrepreneur. Efficient and effective. Efficiency is doing the things right. Effectiveness is doing the right things. Efficiency is hard work. Effectiveness is smart work. You must do the right thing, get the right people, put them on the bus, and be able to excite them, energize them, enthuse them, and then work together as a team. And at that level, it's very frustrating. Cash flow is a big problem. Anybody gets cash flow when you start a business, nobody believes you. This professor who came to me, I thought he was dreaming. I didn't know anything about algorithms, but I trusted him. My chairman taught me 3 things to look for by investing in a company. First, C is character. Are they honest? Are their background good? Check with the people. Second, after character is competency. Are they able to perform what they claim they are? Are they dreamers? But the last is more important. Commitment. Commitment, not cash. Commitment in their reputation. You see, when you have cash can come, cash can go. But reputation goes, you're finished. So you have to look for people whose reputation they want to safeguard with enormous commitment. And this man had that. So on the 3 C's is something I look at. Character, competence, and commitment. And character is also very important. You can bluff some of the people all the time. You can bluff all the people some of the time. But you can never bluff all the people all the time. So very important. So always look, and very, very difficult. At that time, you are a dreamer. How do you find out? In Singapore, it's easy. Small country. We have only 5.6 million people. Only 3.2 million people are Singaporeans. The others are all expatriates and foreigners. And it's an amazing country. We started off when the British left. I wasn't there. $1,000 per capita income. We have no agriculture, no animal husbandry, no water, no gas, no electricity, nothing. Today, our per capita is one of the highest in the world. Why? You had a leader, we'll talk about that later, and the commitment of the people. And all do not focus on economy, not about religion, not about race. Meritocracy plus, plus, plus. Unbelievable. 8% of the people are like me. Firstly, I was assistant to the group chairman of the largest bank, the chief justice, the head of the central bank, the deputy prime minister, 4 or 5 ministers are all people who are either Sri Lankans or Indians or Pakistanis. They don't care who the hell you are, as long as you can perform. This is something Lee Kuan Yew in 1965 said, my vision for Singapore is to become like Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, Burma, and Philippines were the highest growth companies in the world, in Asia. And what happened in Sri Lanka? They brought racial distinction, language distinction. And people fought for nothing. My best friends, I do business with people who are not my race. Nobody cares. We are human beings. We are here for a short time. We go away. Why are we looking at these things? These are minor things. Unfortunately, the world is changing. And Singapore is very strict. If you criticize a religion, race or language, you are locked up straight away. No questions asked. Right? And this is the only country in the world a woman can go out in the night. Absolutely safe. Nowhere in the world can. Even I can't go out in Jakarta. My client says, my driver will be with you if you want to go out, or my sister, or I will come and take you. So the world it's safe. It's very nice. So technician manager is efficiency and effectiveness. Successful business has to be effective hard work, doing the things right, and effective smart work. Hard work alone is not enough. You must do the right things at the right time. This is very important. Doing the right things. Successful business, personal success is very important as the entrepreneur. Secondly, it must also have teamwork. What does team mean? Together, everyone achieves more. Divided, we fall. United, we grow. Look at countries like Singapore. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Amazing. Of course, there's one other secret. My chairman once asked me, he's like my father, what do you think is the reason? I said 75% of our people are Chinese. Chinese are interested and motivated by money. They don't care. Am I right? We are all, I work with Chinese, all my people are Chinese. Motivation is plus. And then finally, in personal success. So I'm going to deal with three things. Personal success. It depends on passion and purpose. It depends on positive mental attitude and also time management. We as an individual must have these three components to succeed. First, passion. Passion is very important. If you do not have the passion to succeed with your product, your service, you will not succeed. Passion is the first contributor of success. Do you agree? It's the same as when we met the most important person in our life, our wife or husband. You must have that passion. But do we still keep that passion going? Do you? Oh, very good, excellent. Because Ivan, do you keep your passion going? Always. Very good. So passion is very important. Once you have a purpose and a passion, you see enormous possibilities. Then you see opportunities for profit. I like the word P because my name starts with P. Passion, profitability, purpose, and then positive attitude. Let's look at each of them. You see, you can teach people what to do and how to do it. But you can never teach people why they have to do it. Am I right? It's here. Now, once you get your people aligned to the why, not just the what and the how, life changes. People are passionate. I was involved with a little company started by three brilliant IT people. Before I joined the group, the Tony Tan, whom I work with, who became our president of Singapore, he said he invested $250,000. It started by a man called Johnny Moo, Sunny Tan, and Xiao Chuan Bin. Tony Tan was the chairman. When Tony went into politics in '79, I became chairman. This company grew from 250,000 to 850 million, listed on the stock exchange of Singapore, Malaysia, and Hong Kong. I was chairman of Singapore and Hong Kong. Malaysia, we have to have a Bhumi partner, a local person. And that company grew because these people had the passion to help people, systems integration. And then finally, OCBC sold 250,000 for 39 million. But we are nominees, we don't get the share. You can't, because you're nominated in this company, I get it, others don't get it. But the experience I got has helped me to help many companies to grow. And that company went through hell. At one stage, they lost everything, but they motivated and moved up the ladder. Very important. So never give up. And then positive mental attitude. Have you ever come across a person who's negative, who has succeeded? Please let me know. I want to study that person. Anybody knows anybody? Positive attitude is, there's a saying by Paul Mayer, who is a great motivator, who I had the privilege of meeting because he was involved in a charity and he used to come to Singapore. He had this saying, whatever you vividly imagine, ardently desire, sincerely believe, and enthusiastically act upon, must inevitably come to pass. Whatever you vividly imagine, ardently desire, sincerely believe, and enthusiastic. And the passion must be there for an entrepreneur. I've never come across an entrepreneur who's negative. Have you? Negative people will never succeed. How do you change from negative to positive? I think it's very, very important. And then positive attitude. The greatest discovery of my generation is that a human being can alter his or her attitude by altering the state of his mind. I do a Chinese exercise for the last 35 years called Qigong, He-Xiang Qigong, movement of the crane. I did it this morning in the room. Of course, ideally, I must touch the ground. And that has helped me. I have very little wrinkles. I have no plastic surgery. The reason is after the qi comes, and then you rub it like this, and rub it. And many ask me, have I done plastic surgery? I said, no, I don't like plastic surgery. But so overcome self-doubt and develop belief. And then you have no fear. Fear is a lovely word. False evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. When you go for I recently had a medical checkup, thank God, everything is fine. And when before the test comes, your thought is, my God, something wrong, something bad. But the moment you are able to control your emotions, my Qigong meditation, and like a crane you move, immediately it gets out. And you turn a negative to a positive. Otherwise, life is terrible, terrible. And then this is very important, and then you achieve success. So personal success is very important. Second, other key factors for positive mental health. You must be persistent. Never, never, never give up. And that's an entrepreneur who succeeded. Johnny Moo never gave up. At one stage, we lost all our capital. We had two crises. Digital Equipment Corporation, who we were distributing, cancelled and took away. Any Americans here? No. Americans are very good at giving you. When you make the money, they say, thank you, goodbye, I'm taking it over. Very difficult to have contracts. Persistence, very important. Perseverance. And then patience. I love P because my name starts with P. Persistence, perseverance, and also patience. Time management. So personal success, positive mental attitude, and time management. Because if we as an entrepreneur and all the man who's catalyst in thing, we are not good in time management, nobody else will be good. Time is the scarcest resource. Unless it is managed, nothing else can be managed. Am I right? Time comes. Money you lose, you can get back. Time you lose is gone. You can't get it back. Peter Drucker, the famous leadership guru. Time wasters are shifting priorities. Think about which is more important to you. Interruptions, no clear goals, messy desk and looking for things, procrastination, ineffective delegation, inability to say no, and poor planning. I'm sure any of these, some are for you. Try and move that out. Because if you miss the time, you see, I'll talk later on of the fact that 80% of your time you must spend on 20% of your activities that produce 80% of the results. If you do that, you're an excellent manager, leader. Poor systems. And meetings. Meetings is very bad. When you get together in a meeting of 10 people and waste 2 hours, how much does that cost? A lot. You know, if you go to...
This is a meeting.
Sorry? No, this is a different meeting. This is gathering of knowledge through the wisdom of the great man here. No. But you see the meetings, and there's a lovely word called committee. You know what a definition of committee is? A bunch of unfits appointed by the unwilling to do the unnecessary. When you don't want to make a decision, you appoint a committee. Am I right or wrong? When I went to Great Eastern Life as CEO, I asked them for something. They said, sorry, sir, we have to put it to a committee. I said, what committee? I'm the CEO. You're asking me. I found there were 11 committees. Expenditure committee, some committee. I abolished all committees. I said, committees are appointed by people reluctant to make tough decisions. They pass the blame to somebody else.
There's also a definition on meetings, which
Yeah.
is a format where the minutes are kept and the hours are lost. So keep that very
That's right.
in mind.
That's right. And also Parkinson's law. You know, Parkinson was a very famous Englishman who wrote many things like this about time wasters. So all you have to do is focus on time management, positive attitude, and also time wasters. 80-20-80 rule. When I went to Great Eastern Life, I knew very little about life insurance. I was assistant to the group chairman. I worked with all his projects. I listened to him. He taught me more finance than I learned as a chartered accountant, and he has never been to a university. He can smell money. Very great man. He had a great affinity to Australia. During the war, he came here, and Bank of New South Wales gave him a special place. They knew who he was, even at that time. He never forgot that. We were one of the largest shareholders of Westpac, Dunlop. Of course, Dunlop is no more, and lots of companies in Australia. Because Australians are generally very nice people, I'm told. Is that right? I can't hear.
Yes.
Okay. Australians are very nice people. By the way, I wanted to say something what Ivan said. Apart from these meetings here, there is very little investment of Australians in Singapore. There's the Germans, British, Americans. So this could be an avenue where you can link people from here to the chapters in Singapore. So let's move on. This is a very important rule. I came to 3 countries to learn about life insurance. Being a big group, we invest all over the world. So I met the CEO of National Mutual Life. He was a Swiss gentleman in 1985, 86. Then I went to Abbey Life in London, and also Equitable Life in America. I spent a week with each of them, looking at it from a CEO's point of view. One of them, the West Equitable Life man, said, spend most of your time, Alan, with who gives you the most income. So when I took over Great Eastern Life, I spent 80% of my time with the agents. And the agents got a shock. CEO coming to my office to meet me. And that made a big difference, because when I took over Great Eastern Life, lapsation, that means policies that are given up within 3 years, was 40%. When I left, it was 4%. All because I focused on the agents. Suddenly they became motivated. Of course, not just meeting them, I had to educate them and bring the passion in the business. I used to tell them, this is the best business in the world, because risk sharing, those who live long pay for those who die early. Those who are disabled pay for those who are not disabled, or the other way around. And this is a business which is so good. If you do this, would you sell this on the needs of your client rather than the greed for your commission? And then we helped them. We introduced and we brought the latest information technology. I brought, those days, Colonial Life. They had ICL machines, which I was using, and we brought a project manager. So we collaborated. The word collaboration, connection, was very important. We brought everybody, and I was fortunate. I was elected as the first Asian on the LIMRA board, Life Insurance Marketing and Research, and first non-American to be elected to Life Office Management Association in America. They had to change the rules because you had to have a life license in America. And I was elected. So that gave me opportunity to connect with people, collaborate with people, get ideas from people, and change this company from 200 million to 2.114 billion. So 80% of your time spend on 20% of your activities that produces 80% of the results. How many of you do that? Be honest. Or do you spend the majority of your time on the minority of activities that produce the greatest results? Please put your hands up. Nobody. Can you do that? Can you do that? You can delegate everything to others, not as an entrepreneur, but as you grow. It can impact your life a lot. If 80% of your money comes from sales, spend time there. Not selling, exciting, energizing, and enthusiasm among agents. The 4 Ds of time management: dump it, delegate it, do it now, or decide when. And then, my dear friends, this is magic for me. To-do list. Every day, I learned this long time ago. I spend, before I go to sleep, I put down in order of priority what I'm going to do. But don't put 20 things out. Maximum 5 to 7. And focus on the first things first. And it's amazing. Your productivity will go up incredibly high. Do you agree? Try it. And if you can just try it, and there you are, and give the feedback. And this is what Ivan does. Ivan, while he is one of the most loveliest person I met, not in terms of what he looks like, that I don't agree, but so at the end of the day, please do a to-do list. If you only do this today and from tomorrow, if your productivity doesn't rise and your profits doesn't rise, write to me. I'll tell you what went wrong. Would you agree with that? Yeah. Would you do that? Are you doing it? Please do it. It's the most successful tip I ever received. And particularly when you're working for the chairman, so many companies come. So I have to prioritize and focus on what I think is the best. At the end, and assign priorities in order of importance, not ease of doing. When you sit for an exam, there are certain marks for certain questions. Do you focus on the big marks or the small marks? Big marks. Why? If you get 50% of the big mark, your chances of passing are high. So would you all do that? Easy to say yes, but difficult to do. Vision without action is hallucination. Action without vision is chaos. So you have to balance everything. And then finally, do first things first. Time management, action. Any action is better than worry. Worry is a terrible thing. Any action is better than worry. Effectiveness, doing the right things and doing the things right. Teamwork, my dear friends. The art of informing and persuading others is communication. Communication is very important. As a leader, you have to excite, energize, enthuse, and motivate your people. In communication, there are 3 parts: verbal, vocal, and visual. Verbal is my speak. Vocal, if I speak and say, ladies and gentlemen, communication is very important. How long will you listen to me? Very short time. And finally, verbal, visual, vocal, and visual. If I stand here and talk like this, how many will listen to me? You have to move your eyes, you have to move your hands, excite them. What is most important? Verbal, visual, or vocal? Sorry?
It's 3. Physical.
Huh?
It's 3.
No, which is the most important?
Visual.
Visual. You see, they've done a study. Americans are very good at studies and analysis. Only 7% is verbal. That's your content. But the best content delivered badly is lost. You know the famous Dr. Kissinger. He speaks with a very loud, nobody listens after some time. Brilliant mind. And then visual is also visual. And vocal, and you know, visual is, verbal is only 7%. Vocal is much higher. And visual is 55% and 38%. I just want you to do a test for me. Put your hands like this. Watch me. Move it up, move it down, move it to the right, and touch your chin. Where is your chin? I thought you're intelligent. You're touching. You see, people do what they see, not what they... I thought you're intelligent people here. Are they? You see, all of us are like that. 90% of the people do that. Yeah, it's very, very important. The art of informing and persuading others. How should this be? Simple. Don't use words that nobody understands. They have to look at dictionaries. And then concise and comprehensive. And talking and listening. The word listen, L-I-S-T-E-N, is same letters of the alphabet as silent. Listen more and talk less. My wife has taught me that, you know. My wife has taught me, talk less and listen more. Is that right? Listen more. You can hear much more things. Tell me what your problems are. Tell me how I can solve it. Yeah. And then we should listen more than we talk. Ultimately, teamwork, emotional intelligence. IQ is very important, intelligence. But emotional, major factor in the total success of an individual is emotional. What is it? Knowing one's emotions. How to managing one's emotions. And then motivating oneself. And finally, recognizing emotions in others and handling relations. You see, 90% of what I have achieved is how I get on with people. I can get on with different cultures because I listen. I learn to listen a lot. Although my wife says I don't listen enough. At home it's different because they do the talking, we do the listening. But important thing is this, managing and human relations. See, one of the things that I've learned is if you listen more, people are likely to give you ideas. Am I right? The moment, you see, one of the things my predecessor did, when people give ideas, he said, I know this was tried in Japan. Would you give any more ideas after that? You wouldn't. So very important, emotional intelligence. EQ is, there's a lovely saying by the famous Indian leader, Mahatma Gandhi. He says, when you are right, you have no need to be angry. When you are right, you have no right to be angry. When you are wrong, we have no right to be angry. So think about this. I do this, I don't lose my temper anywhere. Occasionally I lose my temper at home. My wife says, what about your Gandhi? I say, forget Gandhi in the house. But very important, don't lose your temper. Anybody here loses their temper, after that will your subordinate come to you with problems? They won't. I know it's tough, but you want to be a good leader, you have to do that. Finally, my dear friends, we must be together, everyone achieves more. Teamwork. So if you do this, listen to them, get them energized, excited, and listen to them, we work as a team, like a good football team or a rugby team. Unfortunately, Australia lost. I was watching that match and I was hoping you'll win so that when I come, I can congratulate this chap. But unfortunately, you lost. How do you do this? When the members of the team are going back to what I've already talked, are positive and goal-directed, when they see the department objectives as greater than their own, and finally develop a solidarity with the group. When you play football, the chap who scores the goal hits the last. Everybody else has contributed to that. Who gets the credit? The goal scorer. But who cares as long as the team wins? That is the spirit we must have in companies. We don't care who wins as long as we have a good return on investment. And then the morale is high, leads to extraordinary performance. Expense ratio is down and higher profitability. That's what we are interested in. Ultimately, everything boils down to the return on your capital employed must be higher than what you can borrow or what people are prepared to risk with your money. If your return on investment is bad, nobody will lend you money. Am I right as an accountant? And this is the ultimate view. So we looked at this in a different way. We looked at as a human being. All of us are human beings. We are leaders or managers. We have to be better leaders. So ladies and gentlemen, let's work together. And each of you doing your own entrepreneurial investment. Adopt these rules, particularly how to invest in people and how to excite them, energize them, enthuse them, and work as a team. Together, everyone achieves more. And that is very important. One of the things I always talk about is this lovely saying, learn from the past, live today, and plan for the future. You make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. Look to this day, for yesterday is but a dream, for tomorrow is but a vision. Today well lived makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Thank you very much.